Hello and welcome. My name's Kyron, and in this video, we'll be going through the K2 WallPV MultiRail. Designed specifically for trapezoidal and corrugated sheet metal, the MultiRail system is something we've taken from the rooftop section where it's a high security and has had a number of years of proven success. In combination with the insertion rail, it's suitable for large-scale projects with an overall aesthetics and lightning fast installation. For smaller projects, an efficient installation is possible with the facade clamp, making it the perfect solution. Moving on to the components now, and starting with the multi-rail insertion rail, we have a number of components that you may recognize from the rooftop sector, including the multi-rail 25, both in black and silver. We also have the cross connector set utilized with our insertion rail systems, and this is connected with two MK2s and M8 bolts. The anti-slip clip also then sits underneath the cross connector set, ensuring that extra layer of security. Of course, we have the insertion rails themselves, both in black and silver. These are suitable for 30mm module frames and 40mm module frames. The end stops, which sit at the end of the insertion rail, the rail connector set sitting between the rails, and of course, the insertion rail cover sitting at the bottom of the rail and top of the rail for that final aesthetic touch. The module safety sits between two modules and ensures that there's a standard distance between each one. The fixed stops sitting either side of the cross connector set, ensuring that there is no horizontal movement of the rail, and the spring plug, which will sit in a couple of cross connector sets and ensures that there is no vertical movement. The TerraGriff is then added in case someone would like. The TerraGriff can be used if there is any need for earthing or bonding on the system. Moving on to the multi-rail facade clamp, let's take a look at some of the key aspects of this system. It's cost-effective solution using module clamps rather than longer rails. In combination with the module support, modules can be hung before being secured. With fewer and small components, this makes transporting quite easy and obviously then reduces the transport costs and makes all of the logistics a much more simple process. Now taking a look at the components of this system, we're still obviously going to utilize our multi-rail, but in this time it's in combination with the facade clamp, which has been specifically designed for wall PV installations. The module support as well is specific to this system and is used to hold the module before the module is secured with the clamp. If you would like to use earthing or bonding, this is also possible with the TerraGriff. And the end clamp is the clamp we use for our rooftop solutions, coming in silver and black. Now let's take a look at the multi-rail assembly in this brief animation. The multi-rail, being fixed to the facade with 4 clamps, will hold the module support, which sits at the second multi-rail off the bottom. This will then hold the module where we can then fix it with the clamps, and the anti-slip plate will be installed as a final level of security. Placing the modules across the facade, we can then work our way in rows, filling up the whole wall. With the insertion rail, similarly, we'll fix the multi-rail first. The cross connector will then be fixed to that with the two MK2s, with the insertion rail sliding into the cross connector. The modules will then sit nicely in the insertion rail and be secured at the end with the end stop, and we can work our way across the roof again before working our way up and then finishing the facade in this process. Taking a closer look at the installation, all of the multi-rails need to be installed at the same level. From here, we can put the cross connector sets in on the first and the last multi-rail. From there, we can put in the insertion rail with this asymmetric function of sliding up and then sliding down. Gravity will then hold this in place before we have to do the next modules or the next row of insertion rail. The split pin will be installed on a certain number of cross connectors. This will be specified in the assembly instructions or the base report. The purpose of the split pin is to ensure that there is no vertical movement of the insertion rail and it sits snugly in the cross connector set. The anti-slip plate is placed underneath the cross-connector set as a final safety to ensure the modules are securely on the facade wall. The fixed stop will sit on either side of the cross-connector set. Depending on the composition of the rail, you may need to use the fixed stops only in the middle of the rail or perhaps also at the end of the rail as well. The purpose of these is to stop the rail from moving horizontally across the facade over time with thermal expansion. The fixed stop will sit at the end of the insertion rail and ensures that the modules are snug and will not move horizontally across the insertion rail. Installation of the modules is easy with the insertion rail. Simply slide the module up into the top rail and then slide it back down into the bottom. The asymmetric profile allows for this easy installation, yet provides a secure location for the module to sit on the facade wall. The module safety is then placed between each modules and provides a standard distance between all adjacent modules. It also provides reduction in any movement of the modules if there is high wind in the region. Finally, the rail cover can be placed on the bottom with a firm click to ensure that it's in place securely. Let's now take a look at the facade clamp assembly in a little more detail. Starting with our multi-rail, we will then place the module support on this at a distance of 70 millimeters from the bottom of the multi-rail. The module support needs to be placed on the multi-rail second from the bottom, with the distance between multi-rails being determined by the width of the module. The anti-slip plate will be placed underneath the module support, and from here we can hang the module before fixing it with the facade clamp. Following this process, we can work our way up the facade, installing the modules, and then across the facade. Thanks for watching. Until next time.